I think it was like a goal set.
Welcome to the first goal setting session. I am live, and we have Waking Wisdom member Sarah on with us, and we might have a few people joining as well later. But we are recording this so that anyone who was not able to catch it in person can join later and listen through, hit pause where they need to, and go from there. So I just want to go over first to start a few of the things that I think are really helpful to have when you're setting goals. So first of all, I have my journal handy, and I also have my calendar, and I'm still an old school calendar kind of girl. And I use my calendar as my goal setting and the thing that helps keep me on track and straight, and visually making sure that I'm achieving what I want to achieve in life, and also seeing where things might be out. This is a great place to see where things might be out of balance in our life as well. So I'll be talking about that in just a little bit. I have a few other things around me that I want to suggest that when we do these goal setting sessions that you have around as well. I have some smudging tools. I've got some Palo Santo nearby. I actually smudged before we got on. One of my personal core values is sovereignty, is freedom. And so I have some feathers to remind me as we are setting these goals and these intentions for the next month to keep my freedom on the calendar and to keep my freedom in my goals. I also have some crystals sitting around as well. Just you can pick the ones that mean something to you, and I kind of just go by the colors that I like, the ones that I'm drawn to. But I'm going to start today with a reading for the day from Melody Beattie, her book Journey to the Heart. So she says, let yourself take side trips. You're on a journey, the Native American shaman from Sedona said, but it's not what you think. Don't be like the deer who looks straight ahead and sees only the destination. Let yourself take all the side trips you can. Travel the back roads, take your time, talk to people, and touch the trees. See all you've come here to see. Sometimes we need to take side trips into experiences, emotions, situations that take us off center and somewhere new. Sometimes that's where our greatest learning and growth occur. If a side trip is beckoning, there's a lesson there, an old feeling to be felt, healed and cleared, a new attitude or belief to be acquired, a revelation, a surprise. Remember this, a side trip with all its emotions isn't about another person. It's about you and your journey to healing, freedom, and joy. Ignoring a situation that can take you off center won't take you to the next place. Going more deeply into your own growth process, going more deeply into your soul is what will further your journey. Everything that happens to you can be used, felt, shaped, and transformed to further your journey. This process of growth, of side trips and healing is your destiny, the magical journey of your soul. To get to the next place, we need to leave the comfortable main road we have been traveling. Sometimes a side trip is exactly what we need to make. So with that in mind, the first thing that I would like you to do is grab your journal. And I want you to just take a moment to think back over, I know October is not quite yet finished, but think back over October, over this last month, and write down a sentence or two about what you're grateful for that happened in October. So just go ahead and take your time and write down what you're grateful for. Okay, so for those of you that are at home, you're lucky because you can just pause if you're not ready to move on to the next thing. But we're going to go ahead and move on. So the next thing I like to do, you're definitely going to need probably need your calendar for this, and you might even need your phone. So what I like to do is in my calendar, and you may or may not have space for this in your calendar, so you might have to write it. In your journal, and that's fine too. Just wherever you can keep kind of it all together, wherever you can come back to it next month and reference is kind of the point. So whatever makes intuitive sense for you. What I'm going to do is I am going to look back over what was on my calendar in October. And I want to write down all of the things that felt like wins for me, the things that were really positive, that helped me achieve my desires, my dreams. They helped me move towards something that's been a goal. I think the word goal, I did call this, I believe Sarah helped remind me that I called it like a goal setting session. And I do find the word goal setting a little bit problematic. So I just want to say that from the get-go. I do find it a little bit problematic. I think it's more important to focus on your dreams and your desires, and aligning with your core values when you do work like this. But was there something that helped you align with your goals? So go ahead and start writing those down. And while you're writing those down, I'm just going to name a couple of mine that might help you jog your memory of things that were wins for you. And I think this is really important. Before we start looking forward, it's super important to look at what happened, to look at what we did. So for me, I had someone gifted me a past life. I had an intuitive friend who gifted me a past life regression, and that was a really powerful thing. And so that I considered that a big win. It was something I wanted to note in this area. I got to I had a really good visit up in Toledo, Ohio with my mom and my family. I noted that as a win. I grew my email list by 400 people in the last few days. I mean, that's just a ginormous win for me. So that's definitely taking forefront. It seems like a really, there are really tactical business things that are important, and they might be that way for you. Don't be afraid to write those down, even if there's numbers. Like if you're a salesperson in some way and you hit a number that was really important to you, mark that down. If you are an academic and you had something published in a journal that you're really proud of, that's a good thing. I took part in Bloom Inclusion. I got to be the creativity cultivator for the Bloom Inclusion seminar, diversity inclusion seminar in Greensboro. That was a big win. I applied for 40 under 40, and I applied to speak at TEDx Greensboro. So those were things that were really important to me, that I told myself I wanted to do, I followed through on, and I did. And then of course there were some surprises in there as well. I reconnected with an old friend. That was wonderful. If your calendar is not helping you jog your memory in that way, one of the really fun tools is to grab your phone. And I don't normally like to have a phone next time I'm doing things like this, but grab your phone and look back over your pictures from the last month. You might be surprised at what pictures you did or did not take, and how that, it's going to be probably a pretty accurate sum up of some of the good things that happened for you. Let's see if I have anything really spectacular in here that I can share with all of you. A friend brought me her sewing machine, and I sewed this bag, and I was really, really proud of that. And now that's leading me to a new sewing project. So that's one thing that probably would not have necessarily made it onto the calendar or onto my wins for the month had I not reflected in my calendar. There was a first for the podcast. That's something that I didn't write down. I had a singer-songwriter on, and she sang. So hopefully you're going through those pictures and letting those pictures jog your memory. And hopefully it will let you see that you probably had a pretty full month. And hopefully you'll have some good wins. If you're still working on that, just hit pause, continue to build your list. But just going to my next question for you would be getting ready to move into November. So getting ready for this second to last month of the year. What do you want to let go of before you move into November? So just take a moment to write down what you want to let go of. I'm not going to make anybody share on that one, but just you know what's important to you to let go of. And it's one thing just to write it down. That's powerful in itself. It's that whole name it so that you can tame it. But if it's something that you really want to let go of, sometimes all you have to do is say, I'm letting go of this, and that's enough. Sometimes it's not. So you might need to write out some tangible baby steps that you can use to begin to let go of whatever it is that you're letting go of. Trying to think of more of a neutral example. So if I wanted to let go of the busyness, don't we all want to let go of the busyness? A baby step intention that I could do is looking through my November calendar is blocking off one night a week for myself each week in my calendar that's non-negotiable, that nobody gets to put anything on my calendar that evening, and going through and blocking that off now. Or going through and making sure that I have carved out at least 2 weekends a month where I don't put any connections or so I'm an introvert, so this is really important to me to have a couple weekends a month where I don't have anything that I have to do, so that I would go through and block that off now. So see if there's a way that you can take a step towards doing what you want to do. So make it kind of a positive. So I want to let go of the busyness, and in order to do that, I am creating more time for myself on my calendar. So the next thing, Sarah, do you have any questions as I'm going through this since you are on?
Sure.
Any questions?
Not so far.
Okay. Okay. So we've written down what we're grateful for. We have written down what our wins were from the past month. Now, I want to know, I want you to tell yourself, so to speak, what are your goals? I've already told you, I think that word's problematic, but your goals, your dreams, your desires for November. And so just make a list. So, I've got everything from more intangible to tangible on this. So some of the tangible things would be that from this summit, this creativity summit that I have going on that has going to launch on Thursday of this week, I want to obtain some new coaching clients out of it. I want to make powerful connections with the people watching. I want to have built stronger relationships with the people that I got to interview. And I want to, and I hope that I will get some coaching clients out of it. And so those are kind of my dreams, goals, and desires. I also am going to be spending some time, a couple weeks in Ohio. So an intention, a desire that's at the forefront of my mind is while I'm in Ohio, living in my mom's house for 2 weeks. I want to make sure that she and I have a really good time together, and that that I don't drive her crazy and that she doesn't drive me crazy. So my intention is to have really fun projects that we can do, have places that I can go to carve out my own space, things like that. So you can list all your dreams and desires, and then you can kind of create action plans from that. But first, start with your dreams and desires and your goals for November. And I would try to narrow it to about 5, so to speak. So that's a pretty good number that will help you. If we get into, you can have more than that, but it's hard to make all of those things happen if you have more than that. So go ahead and just take a few minutes to write those down. So I've got like 3 or 4 things down. For those of you who are at home, if you're not ready to move on to the next thing, just press pause until you are. But we're going to go ahead and move on now to the next thing. And the next thing that I'm moving on to is just looking at what you said your goals, dreams, and desires are. Do go ahead and write out some baby steps that you can actually take. Even if it's something that you just wish happens, can you meditate on it? Can you pray about it? If it's something that's outside of your control, what intention can you put towards it? So start thinking in that tangible way of what steps you can take to bring that dream to fruition for yourself. So just go ahead and you can either begin to write those down, or if you're at home and you're not ready, go ahead and just press pause until you are ready. So the last thing that I have for you in this goal setting session, in this dreams, desires, goal setting session, is just kind of a gentle reminder that doing this is wonderful. But if you do this and you don't look at it again until we meet again at the end of November, it's probably not going to help that much. So the way to make this a little bit more useful to you is I would suggest setting a calendar reminder for yourself on whatever day works best for you. I like to do it at the start of my week. So I like on a Monday morning to take a look and look back over what I said was important and think about, am I taking the steps that I said that I was going to take? And thinking about, if so, great. Are there more steps that I can take? Am I tracking to get to where I want to go? If not, what can I do to bring more of that into my life? Is it still and then also ask yourself, is it still as important to you as you said it was at the beginning? So that's a really important piece of this to be thinking about. And if you decide that it is not important to you any longer, give yourself permission to let it go, to drop that from your list. You can add something else in or not add something else in, but thinking about what you're telling yourself you want to do. Just check in with yourself at the beginning of your week. Put it in your calendar to check in. Go back through it. Are you tracking? Good check-in time. So the new moon was last night. New moon rituals are good for like the first couple days leading up to the new moon and the few days after. If you do new moon rituals after, you can. They're just powerfully packed around that new moon period. So I like to use the new moon and the full moon is definite check-in, beginning and ending check-ins for me. So in 2 more weeks, we'll have that full moon, and that will be a good time to also kind of reevaluate mid-month or close to mid-month. Am I where I wanted to be for these dreams and goals and desires? So that is all I have for you. Please shoot me an email. Let me know if this was useful for you, what you would like to see more of, what you need more of. If we get more people on the call, we'll have a few people share what they are saying they have been working on, and just let us know if this is useful, if this is powerful. We want to know, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for being a part of this goal setting session.